Lizi Arbogast with Central Alabama Voice, along with Caleb Brooks, and it's hard to believe, but football is finally back.
Yeah.
I know, it's like we haven't had sports, much less football, in forever. It's definitely good to see. Obviously, there'll be a lot of changes going on with, limiting capacity and no handshakes and stuff like that, but, it's go time.
Yeah, no doubt. It's going to look a lot different, going to be a lot less people in the stands, mask on in the crowd,
right.
But from me going around talking to all these kids, they don't care. They're ready to play, and it's going to be awesome.
And we're ready to watch it. So we're going to break down some of the biggest games throughout the Central Alabama region for this week. We're going to start with Montgomery Catholic versus Pike Road at the Crampton Bowl Thursday night. These are two one-loss teams from last year, and they're ready to kick it off in style, I think.
Yeah, no doubt. We'll be calling this HSA Radio Network, the kickoff classic game Thursday night. You got Montgomery Catholic was knocked out in the third round by UMS Wright a year ago. Pike Road lost in the second round, and we'll be making the move up to 5A this season.
Yeah, that's a big jump to make, but it seems like that's a new kind of rivalry that's brewing, so I'm excited to see how it takes off. Another obviously big rivalry in the Central Alabama region. Reeltown is at Tallahassee Thursday night. This is the first time that they've played in 20-some-odd years. Only 10 miles split these two teams, and I think everybody in those two communities are really excited about this game.
Yeah, no doubt. You had over 2,000 tickets sold in less than 3 days to a game that everybody knows is going to be limited. We got COVID issues, so it shows you the excitement in those two towns. We're used to seeing Reeltown and Dadeville first game of the year. Obviously, with them being in the same region now, that gets moved back, and so now Reeltown just finds a new rival to go find, and it's going to be a really good one to start off the year this week.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Excited to see what to expect from both those teams. Reeltown coming off a trip to the state championship. Tallahassee is a really young team, but a lot of experience, so should be a good game. Due to some COVID stuff, Opelika and Stanhope Elmore are playing on Friday night. They were previously in the region together, and now are continuing that rivalry. And even though Stanhope's kind of blown the doors off on Opelika has blown the doors off them the last 2 years. It's always been a fun game.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think last year, 38-14 for Opelika was surprising because when we got to see Stanhope and saw how good they were on defense, and we saw Opelika before that, and they weren't just unreal on offense, so it was a surprising game. And I think this year you got Stanhope a lot of guys back on defense from that team, led by, I can't remember the guy's name, but the one that's going to Troy. He's 6'4", 280 pounds, and is huge. So that's going to be a big matchup to start the year. And I think we're going to find out a lot about both of those teams here to start the season.
Seems like Opelika always just kind of reloads.
They got 10 senior offensive linemen this season.
Yeah, wow. You got two offensive lines, pretty much.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that should definitely be a good one. Another one we're excited about is Park Crossing at Auburn. That's another game change. Auburn was set to start the season against Bob Jones. That game has been moved to September 25th due to some COVID stuff. So they're hosting Park Crossing to start it off on Friday night.
Yeah, going to be a big one. And for Auburn, they're excited because they get Matthew Caldwell back at quarterback, who I think was a ninth grader a year ago and was leading this team. And so now we'll be stepping into sophomore year, comes back off of a big injury, and going to be huge for them. They had to really ride Aaron Diggs a season ago. He had over 40 carries in the Prattville game that they won, and he was a lot of their offense towards the end of the season, so they're happy to get him back where they can kind of spread it around now. And then Park Crossing, a weird year. They go 3-7.
Yeah, weird.
3-7, but they make the playoffs and then got hot at the right time and were right there with a chance to win in the third round against Spanish Fort, who goes on to play for a state championship. And they return a lot of guys and have a big 5-star player right there on the defensive line for them, and Curtis Perry. So that's going to be a huge matchup between Auburn and Park Crossing. And, Auburn last year opening up with Wilcox Central. This is going to be big for them and a big test. I think they'll find out a lot more about their team to start this season.
Yeah, and Park Crossing also led by new coach L.C. Cole. He comes from Lochapoka, so good to see him kind of starting things off. Clay Central is at Chilton County Friday. Obviously, always have your eyes on Clay Central. Back-to-back 5A state championship. Coach Danny Horn won his 300th game against Benjamin Russell, ironically, last year. This should be a good one with those kind of interesting matchups with him against Tom Morrison, who used to coach for him when they were both at Benjamin Russell.
Yeah, and you can tell the results haven't really. 4-7 and 6-5 for the last 2 years for Chilton County, but you can literally see a difference in how physical they are, the type of players that they have out there. And with Austin Munkus, who was a friend of mine and graduated with me, being assistant coach there, and Coach Morrison being there, I've gotten to talk to them a lot, and they feel pretty good about this team going into this season. And it's going to be tough, though. They're making the move up to 6A this season, entering in that region with Benjamin Russell, Wetumpka, Stanhope, Helena. So it's going to be tough, but this is a good game for them to start off with. And it's going to be a big test for both teams because for Central Clay, they're getting that physical test that Coach Horn loves to have at the beginning of the season.
Absolutely. And speaking of Benjamin Russell, they had to Huffman on Friday night. Benjamin Russell missed the playoffs for the first time last year since 2010, but had a really good end to the season. So hopefully they'll kind of pick up where they left off, but obviously graduated a lot from last year as well.
Yeah, and me and you obviously are close to this program with you covering them, and me getting to be there every Friday night and having played for them. And I've talked to a lot of people about this. The way they ended last season was very impressive.
Really
it would have been very easy to fold. I thought they were going to fold after Selma. And they bounced back. They beat a ranked Demopolis team. They dominate Chilton County, go have really close games with Opelika-Wetumpka, and then dominate Calera and Valley, who made the playoffs in 5A to end the season. So I think they built a lot of momentum. You got Carter entering his senior season, which I think we're going to find out a lot on Friday night about his progression. And really this team's progression was their first year in a new offense a season ago. So now, are they more comfortable? And that's going to be something to really look for Friday night against a Huffman team who's going to put out a lot of good athletes.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple other rivalries as well. Prattville is facing off in Wetumpka at the Crampton Bowl on Friday night, and Horseshoe Bend renews its rivalry with Wadley.
Yeah, those are big games. And Sylacauga playing against Leeds as well on Friday night. And so, we got really big games, I think, this week. And that's what you want to start the season. You don't want, you look at college football, a lot of cupcakes beginning of the year. You don't see that really in high school. I mean, these are ranked matchups that we're seeing here to start the season here in week 0. And you really got to like that. I mean, Prattville and Wetumpka facing off. We'll have that again Friday night on the AHSA radio network. And Prattville's a team that kind of was down for a couple of years and is now climbing their way back up to that level they were at when they had that dynasty.
Yeah.
And then a Wetumpka team who didn't have the result record-wise that they wanted a year ago, going 6-6, trying to bounce back, and they've got good athletes. And then you talked about, Horseshoe Bend and Wadley. That's a really good matchup between a Horseshoe Bend team who's trying to get on track and really get going, and a Wadley team who's been successful and then been down for some years and been successful. So they're trying to find that consistency, and I'm looking forward to starting that one. And then, like we talked about, Sylacauga and Leeds.
Yeah,
Andrew Zhao making his debut for Sylacauga.
I know, I'm excited about that.
No doubt. And and then Leeds is a program that has won state championships. They've been there. So they're trying to get back to that level that they were at when Coach Etheridge, who's now at Oxford, was there. And so that's going to be a really fun one to start the season.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this week. Unfortunately, there were quite a few games that did have to be canceled. Vestavia Hills canceled its first 2 games. Elwood Christian actually canceled their entire season. Dothan and Hoover were canceled, and Coosa canceled its first 2 games this season. So that's unfortunate, but there's still a lot to look forward to this week, and we're certainly excited to get going.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, like you said, high school football's here.
Football's
I'm
back.
Super excited about it, and I'm just ready to watch some live high school sports. It's been since I was at the Benjamin Russell Mumford baseball game that day since I've seen a live high school sport.
I know. So we're excited to get going, and stick with us at Central Alabama Voice. We've got some exciting stuff coming down the pike.